Have you ever thought about what you would do if disaster strikes without warning? Imagine for a moment a world turned upside down by a natural calamity, or perhaps civil unrest, or even a sudden power outage. These are all unpredictable events that can happen anywhere, anytime, and to anyone. The reality is, disasters don't always come with a warning. They can catch us off guard, leaving us in a state of confusion and panic. But what if we could change that? What if we could take control of the situation, instead of letting it control us? That's where preparedness comes into play. Being prepared means having a plan, and it means equipping ourselves with the necessary items and knowledge to face these challenges head-on. We can't predict or prevent disasters, but we can certainly prepare for them. And remember, being prepared can make all the difference when seconds count. Don't wait until it's too late. Start preparing today. So, what should you have at hand to ensure you're ready for any disaster? First and foremost, water is a critical resource. You must ensure you have enough for each person in your household to consume a minimum of 1 gallon per day for at least 3 days. This accounts for both drinking and sanitation. Next, food. A 3-day supply of non-perishable food items is recommended. Remember to consider dietary restrictions or allergies while stocking up. A battery-powered or hand-crank radio is a must-have. This will keep you connected to the outside world, providing you with crucial updates and instructions during a disaster. Also, don't forget a flashlight. When the power goes out, this will be your guiding light. Ensure you have extra batteries too. A first aid kit is essential. It should include basic wound care items like bandages, antiseptic wipes, and tweezers. Also, remember to add any necessary prescription medications. A whistle to signal for help can be a lifesaver, especially if you're trapped or stranded. This small tool can carry your call for help further than your voice ever could. You should also have a dust mask to help filter contaminated air. Along with this, plastic sheeting and duct tape can be used to create a makeshift shelter or seal off a room from outside contaminants. Last but not least, personal sanitation items. Moist towelettes, garbage bags, and plastic ties can help maintain cleanliness and hygiene, which is crucial to prevent illness or infection. In the face of a disaster, these are the bare essentials you should have within arm's reach. They won't ensure complete comfort, but they will help you survive the immediate aftermath. It's important to remember that each disaster is unique, and your preparedness plan should be too. Tailor your kit to suit your personal needs and circumstances. These are just the bare essentials to help you survive the immediate aftermath of a disaster. Now that we've covered the essentials, it's time to ensure your disaster preparedness kit is user-friendly. When disaster strikes, time is of the essence, and you don't want to be rummaging through your kit looking for what you need. So, how do you organize your kit effectively? First, group similar items together. For example, keep all your food items in one container and your medical supplies in another. This will make it easier to find what you need quickly. Second, always pack your kit in a waterproof, easy-to-carry container. A duffel bag, backpack, or plastic bin will do the trick. Remember, in an emergency, you may need to move quickly, so your kit should be portable. Third, label everything clearly. In a stressful situation, you want to be able to identify items at a glance. Fourth, do a regular inventory check of your kit to ensure nothing has expired or been damaged. This is especially important for food, water, and medication. And finally, each member of your household should know where the kit is stored and how to use everything in it. Remember, an effective disaster preparedness kit is not just about having the right supplies, but also about making sure they can be used efficiently and effectively. Your kit can be a lifeline in a disaster, so make sure it's easy to use. Provided in the description of this video are useful links to products that are affordable and will get you started on building your kit. Also, if you made it this far in the video, it would be most appreciated if you would like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be informed of additional videos on survival and emergency planning. But what about other items that could be useful in a disaster situation? Well, let's delve into the additional items that could significantly enhance your preparedness. Each one of them might seem ordinary, but in a crisis, they can make a world of difference. First off, local maps. In our era of digital everything, we often forget about the good old-fashioned paper map, but when power is out and your GPS fails, a local map can be your guide to safety. Next, let's talk about your cell phone. It's not just a device for scrolling social media or making calls. In a disaster, it's your connection to the outside world, your source of critical updates, and a lifeline to emergency services. But remember, cell phones are only as good as their battery life. So equip yourself with chargers and a backup battery to keep that lifeline alive. Now, on to personal needs. If you or a loved one rely on prescription medications, having an extra supply on hand is essential. The same goes for glasses. If you wear them, keep a spare pair in your disaster kit. You don't want to be squinting your way through a crisis. What about the youngest members of your family? Infants have specific needs like formula and diapers. Make sure you have a sufficient stockpile to keep them fed, clean, and comfortable. And let's not forget our furry friends. Pets are part of the family, and they too have unique needs in a disaster. Pack extra pet food and remember to account for their water needs when you're storing water for your family. We've covered a lot, but this is by no means an exhaustive list. Consider your own needs and those of your family. What items would you need to feel safe and comfortable in a disaster situation? Add those to your kit. Remember, everyone's needs are different. Tailor your disaster supplies to meet your specific needs. Now that we've covered what you need, how do you maintain your disaster supplies? It's a valid question, and one that's essential to ensuring your preparedness in the face of an emergency. Just like you wouldn't leave your car sitting in the garage for years without running it, your disaster supplies need regular checkups. This means going through your kit at least twice a year to make sure everything is in working order. Let's start with food and water. These essential items have an expiration date, and it's crucial to stay on top of it. That canned soup might seem like it can last forever, but it won't. Make sure to replace any items that have expired or are close to expiring to ensure you're not left with a pantry full of unusable supplies when disaster strikes. But maintaining your disaster supplies isn't just about keeping track of expiration dates. It's about adapting your kit to meet your evolving needs. As your family grows, or as members age, the items you need in an emergency will change. Maybe you now have a baby and need formula, or a family member has developed a medical condition that requires specific medication. Updating your kit to reflect these changes is just as important as keeping your food and water supplies fresh. Lastly, consider how you're storing your items. Airtight plastic bags are a great way to keep items safe from water damage, and they can also help to keep foodstuffs fresh for longer. They're also handy for organizing your kit, making it easier to find what you need when time is of the essence. In conclusion, maintaining your disaster supplies is a continuous task, but it's one that could make all the difference in an emergency. Regular checkups, replacing expired items, updating your kit to meet your needs, and proper storage are all crucial parts of this process. A well-maintained disaster supply kit is an invaluable asset in an emergency. So take the time to keep your supplies in order. Your future self might just thank you for it. Having supplies is one thing, but how do you ensure you know what to do when disaster strikes? That's where practicing your disaster plan comes into play. It's not enough to just have a plan. You need to know it like the back of your hand. Imagine it like a fire drill at school or work. We don't do them because we expect a fire every day, but so that if one does happen, we know exactly where to go and what to do. The same principle applies to your disaster plan. Now, you might be thinking, I've got my plan written down, isn't that enough? Well, think of it this way. If you've ever put together a piece of furniture with only written instructions, you know that reading about something and doing it are two very different things. And in a disaster situation, you won't have the luxury of time to review your notes. So, how do we practice our disaster plan? Start by familiarizing everyone in the household with the plan. This means going over all the details, from evacuation routes to meeting points, and ensuring everyone knows their roles and responsibilities. Next, conduct regular drills. This could be as simple as a quick walkthrough of the evacuation route or as detailed as a full-scale simulation of a disaster scenario. The key is to make it as realistic as possible, so when the real thing happens, it feels familiar. But remember, disaster plans are not set in stone. As your family grows, as you move houses, or even as new information becomes available, your plan should evolve. Regularly revisit and update your plan to ensure it remains effective and relevant. In the end, having a disaster plan is just half the battle. The other half is practicing it until it becomes second nature. Because when disaster strikes, it's not the plan on paper that will save you, it's the plan in your head and the actions you've rehearsed 1,000 times. Remember, the key to surviving a disaster is not just preparation, but practice. We've talked about what to prepare, but what about you? It's time to consider your specific needs and how you can prepare for them. Every person, every family has unique circumstances that could affect their survival in a disaster situation. Perhaps you have a medical condition that requires specific medication, or maybe you live in a flood-prone area. Whatever your situation, it's crucial to tailor your preparedness plan to meet your needs. Consider your daily routines, your dietary requirements, your health, and your location. These factors should guide your preparations. And remember, the more self-sufficient you can be during a disaster, the better off you'll be. But preparedness isn't a solitary effort. We can all learn from each other. So we encourage you to share your own preparedness plans. What unique items do you include? What specific actions have you planned for? Are you prepared for a disaster? What do you recommend adding to your preparedness plan? Please like, subscribe, and comment below with your recommendations.